Mary Kay Cabot. Here we go. If they haven't reached out yet, they probably will. If Rodgers lets the Packers know he'd like to move on, with Baker Mayfield entering the final year of his contract. Yes, this is Mary Kay Cabot now of Cleveland.com talking about Aaron Rodgers' availability and how they would have to explore that, of course. What's interesting to me back here with Rob Ninkovich and Jeff Darlington, let's one thing at a time. Let's start with Garrett. Nick, Garrett asked if he believes in Baker, says, I believe in the Browns. What do you make of that?
I mean, I think that he couldn't go out there and just throw Baker under the bus. He believes that his team could possibly get them to a playoff situation, and Baker has to do his part. And at this point right now, it'd be hard to say that Baker's going to just go and be this completely different player after a sample size. It's really hard for somebody to basically reinvent themselves after playing in the NFL multiple years. Basically, you are what you are at a certain point. You can improve, yes you can, but can you become a completely different player?
Right.
No. So if Baker goes out there and he takes care of the football and he can convert on third downs, which are the two biggest things that you have to do as a quarterback, this team, the Browns, can do something, but it's going to take everybody.
Right. You're talking about the difference between degree and kind. We now know what kind of quarterback Baker is. Even if he improves by degrees, he's not going to suddenly become a different kind of quarterback, a different level. Jeff, what are you hearing about the Browns' plans for Baker as he enters the final year of his deal?
Yeah, I don't put as much into what Myles Garrett is saying coming out of dinner, probably trying to have a nice dinner, and then all of a sudden he's getting hammered with questions about Baker Mayfield. But I think that the more important thing here is that this feels like it's headed down a road where there will not be a negotiation for an extension. There's been no talks to this point. The sense is that this will be a lame duck season for Baker, and he'll have to prove it. And my whole thing is Baker Mayfield has such a chip on his shoulder, and I'm not trying to put thoughts into his head or words in his mouth, but he has such a chip on his shoulder. Is he the type of guy who has to go gamble on himself because the team doesn't want to extend him and has success, that he's just going to be like, you know what, I'm cool, let's come back and sign a deal? Like, I don't know how this necessarily ends well, even if Baker winds up playing well in Cleveland. We'll see. There's a lot to play out here, but for now it feels like Baker Mayfield is going to his final year without a new contract.
I mean, part of the problem is, I think, what Elway said like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Where's the middle-class quarterback? You know, every quarterback has to reset the market. Point. Baker in the low 20s. Yeah. So you go, okay, yeah, we can win with that because we're properly pricing the commodities, which is really a job of a GM. Nick, no one knows what Rodgers is going to do at this point. But if he does want out of Green Bay, as Mary Kay Cabot points out, Cleveland, you know, it seems to me the Browns last year, you know, a full year ago, would be like, oh, my God, could you imagine with that O-line, those running backs, those receivers, could you imagine what they'd be with Rodgers? But now Odell's not there. Jarvis Landry may not want to be there even. The line's not quite as good, I don't think, as it was 2 years ago. What do you think on Rodgers, like Rodgers on the Browns? What would they be with him next year?
No, they'd be really good. They'd be a good football team. But I think the best spot for Aaron Rodgers, I talked about this early today, it would be Green Bay, exactly where he's at. He wouldn't have to move. He wouldn't have to go to a completely different city, a new system. He's comfortable where he is at. The fan base loves him. So I think it'd be difficult for him to go to Cleveland of all places. It's not like going to Tampa or down in Miami. It's I don't know. I think that his best place right now is to stay where he's at.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.